But I'm recording. But we're gonna give it a few more minutes for people to hop on. You can talk.
Good morning. Good morning. We will wait a few minutes to get this going, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you all want to be on, and we're going to take some questions along the way too. So this is going to be fun, fun, fun.
It's not going to change.
Live and quick, so just know you guys will. But it's fine.
It's providing.
You're getting close, aren't you? You look cute. Thanks.
You can close it.
Yeah. So you want to just start with him? Why don't you? I understand, yeah.
All right. Are we ready?
We're ready.
All righto. We're going live, so just bear with me. This is the boss, Sarah, that coordinates all these Agent Nation events. Buyer commitment, how to ask for and earn what you deserve. We are going live. A few people, you know what? I think I'm going to just hold this up and we'll go live for a few. So you just hold that up there, Sarah.
Yeah.
You ready?
So feel free to join.
Awesome. Let's do this. I think those that are on have heard about a couple things that may be changing in real estate. Here's the cool thing. Yes, there's changes, but the changes aren't as big as we think. And if I go to the next slide, you all will catch my vision of, let's take a look. I don't know where my slide is. It doesn't look like, let's see. Right here. Starts with mindset. If you think it is, it is. And if you think it's not, it's not. Here's the key. People are freaking out. No doubt about it. Get it. By the way, I don't want to minimize what's happening in the real estate world, but what I also don't want to do is overreact. There's some changes that will occur, but the most important thing is that we actually don't know what the changes are going to be. And until we actually know what the changes are going to be, what the forms are going to look like, I'm doing what I do today, except I'm going to ramp it up even more. What I'm doing today is in my conversations, I'm more focused on adding value, understanding where they're at, getting into curiosity, out of judgment, asking a heck of a lot of questions. I'm not being a salesperson. Where we have to be careful is sell, sell, sell. No, we have to understand, and add such compelling value to what the buyers are saying that it's only natural that we're going to build this relationship. So here's the thing. As we get into this, I want to thank a good friend of mine, Brian Danny. And Brian Danny, and I posted this in Agent Nation, and I love this. Stop freaking out. Stop freaking out. Nothing has changed. A seller has always had the option to pay 6%, 0%. A buyer has always had the choice to go directly to the listing agent. A buyer's always had the choice to represent themselves. A buyer's always had the right to choose to solely use online websites for public information. By the way, going back 15 years, when you used to have the MLS, there was no MLS, there was no Maris. There were books this thick. You would have to go to a real estate office. You would have to get the key. There was no Supra. By the way, this is dating me. I actually wasn't in business at this time. I just heard about it. I started when the internet, Zillow, and all of these syndicated sites started. But what I heard was everybody was freaking out when it went to, we're going to open this up. We control everything. We control the books. We control the keys. We control the properties. And you know what happened? Real estate exponentially grew when we opened it up. The reason is now there was information overload. somewhat paralysis by analysis, too much information. You know what? They now needed an agent to discern everything that there was out there now. There was information, misinformation, things about houses that were under contract, not under contract. It said they're under contract, it wasn't. But here's the thing, now they needed a trusted advisor. That's why we have value. By the way, everything changes. And it will continue to change. It will continue to evolve. But what does not change is that people will continue to pay value. Everybody in this room can do their own taxes. Doing your own taxes, if you're a W-2 employee with no deductions, simply one W-2, you should probably go to TurboTax. It's okay, no problem. However, a complex situation such as mine, where I have 20-something LLCs, I have a lot of complex, I would be foolish to do my own taxes. I could do them, but here's the thing, I would be foolish, it would be irresponsible financially to do it, because the return on investment of hiring a professional is far greater than doing them myself and risking missing out or missing legal exposure. Everybody here can represent themselves in the court of law. But if something happens, you're going to hire the best of the best lawyer. They're going to cost. By the way, remember this, and it's one of my most favorite things. Cheap service ain't good. Good service ain't cheap. That's my mentality. That's why I charge a premium. And I'll reiterate it again. Good service ain't cheap. Cheap service ain't good. So when we get into this, this is all a mindset. Do you believe you're of value, or do you not believe you're of value? So when I led on this, and if we went back to the first page, how to ask for and earn for what you deserve, first thing is you have to believe you deserve what you're asking for. It is absolutely impossible to ask for something if you don't believe you're entitled to it. And by the way, there's many people that believe that they're not entitled to charge that. They can't believe how much they're going to charge a buyer. I'm suggesting that the value that I offer as a buyer specialist is worth every penny and more, and they're actually getting a discount by paying 3 or 4% for my services. But it's a mindset issue. Going back to this, stop freaking out. A buyer has always had the right to choose and make their own decisions. We all have the right to, in the court of law, to represent ourselves. In the accounting world, we can do our own taxes. The agents always had the opportunity to be reactive or proactive, to add value or to be an order taker. Here's the thing, it's going to change for many. I respect it. There's people that are worried today because they've simply been order takers. It's okay. We're going to migrate to a proactive, value-added approach. And if you focus on a value-added approach, I promise you, you will get what you want. The agents always had the opportunity to play the short game, the long game, abundance or a scarcity mindset. I have an abundant mentality. I am not going to be able to serve everybody. It is virtually impossible for me to serve everybody. First of all, there's going to be people that like me. There's going to be people that don't like me. There's going to be people that think I'm of value. There'll be people that don't think I'm of value. By the way, all that matters is what their perception is. Here's the thing. My objective today is to look for people that are looking to transact in real estate, that are willing to pay what my value is. And if I add enough compelling value, I'll get paid. You'll get paid. The agents always had an opportunity to understand their numbers, underline how an experience with them are proven. What is our proven process? By the way, everybody on here, I would love to see your 5 to 7 second elevator pitch. Why should I use you? How are you different? Here's the thing. I have muscle memory because I've done it so often. I role play. I focus my efforts on scripts and dialogues. My muscle memory is I have a proven process that we've used to sell over 4,500 homes, almost $2 billion of real estate with over 1,300 5-star Google and Zillow reviews. We take a progressive aggressive approach to not simply send properties to our buyers, but to find sellers for our buyers, whether they're online or offline. Now, by the way, you may say that was longer. Yeah, it was longer because I wanted to talk slowly. But the point is, we take a aggressive approach to not simply just send properties to our buyers, but to find sellers for our buyers. By the way, our proven process is the same for sellers. We don't simply put a sign in the yard. We actually are looking for buyers for our sellers. We're looking to bring buyers to our sellers. Okay. Everybody on here needs to have their elevator pitch 5 to 7 seconds. Why are you different? Why should I use you? Now, you're not going to start out of the gate and say, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here's why you should use you. I'm the best. By the way, nobody cares. Stop with I'm the best. Stop with we sell more real estate. Stop. Here's the thing, and I'm going to skip ahead real quick. I don't want to disappoint you, but here is buyers don't want an agent. They want a house. Don't lose track of that. A lot of giggles. People are giggling here because it's kind of shocked them that I'm going that way. But that's what they want. They want a house and they want to move into a house and they want to win a house. Look, we have buyers that we perceive, they may be perceived. Wow, I had to write a lot over asking. They maybe were a little scared. They were a little scared to remove some contingencies. But you know what? At the closing table, happy as can be because they got their house. We help them get their house. We help them guide them through the journey, the process. When they were ready, we met them where they were at. They were ready to do what it takes to win. There's an old saying, sometimes buyers have to lose 1 or 2 deals, lose 1 or 2 houses before they get serious, but that's okay. If you're an agent that meets somebody where they're at, you go through the journey with them, you don't push them. They're going to intrinsically learn that what it takes to win. You can have these conversations, but here's the thing. Buyers don't want an agent. They want a house. That doesn't mean they don't value an agent. They value the house more than the agent, and they'll pay the agent a value if what? If they get the house. And so that's it. So again, I wanted to skip ahead because of this. So the agents always have the opportunity to treat all buyer and seller clients the same. Here's the thing. I'll segue into it. We've always treated, and when I say we, it's us, it's the agent community. We've always treated buyers different than sellers. Buyers are now like listings. Buyers have to be closer aligned to a listing. We always treated a buyer different than a seller. We always had seller consultations. By the way, I'm not suggesting that everybody in this room, everybody on this Zoom has done this, but I'm talking as a general industry. In order to list a home, we would have a seller consultation, could be remote, could be in person, see their home, not see their home. It was impossible to have a listing go live in the MLS without a signed listing agreement. We walked away from unrealistic sellers. The home's worth 400. I want to price it at 800. Very few people would take a home that's 400,000 and list it for 8. However, we may conversely take a buyer that can only afford 300, wants to see $500,000 homes. We actually don't understand even where they're going, where they're looking. We drive them around like a tour guide and we don't have any relationship. But yet we'll walk away from an unrealistic seller. We always had a commission. We always agreed to a commission upfront with the seller. By the way, you could go, if you're a seller, you could go flat fee, pay $300 to go in the MLS. You could do a for sale by owner. You could go real low commission. Here's the thing. We continue to get the commission that we want to get. And the reason we continue to get that is twofold. Number one, we do have a proven track record, and I don't want to stand on a proven track record because I already said nobody cares about being number one, this or that. No, but our proven track record, I don't say it to pat myself on our back, and this is a script we use. We don't say we're this or that because to pat ourselves on the back, but we want you to understand that you're working with somebody that has credibility. And we have a proven process that works that we've used to sell over 4,300 homes with almost $2 billion, 1,300 five-star Google and Zillow reviews. Now, I don't say that in here. I'm just suggesting I continue to reiterate why I'm of value. Okay. But we would walk away from the sellers that don't see our value or want our commission discount. However, we don't do the same for buyers. Again, I'll go back up to here. This all starts with mindset. If you think we're of value, we're of value. If you think we're not of value, we're not of value. If you think this is like going to put you out of business, then this NAR settlement will put you out of business. If you think that you will tackle it, you will succeed, you will win, you will win. I promise you. It all starts up here. Okay? So going back to this, think about this. Buyers are now like listings. It's no different. Everything we did for our sellers, we now are going to have to do for the buyers. Yeah, the buyers were paid in a different way. The buyers were paid by the sellers. Doesn't mean that the sellers aren't going to give seller concessions. Look, I was listening a couple days ago to Barbara Porker and Neil Cavuto. What impressed me about a couple comments in there was she had mentioned on this interview, sellers want the highest amount possible. In order to do that, you have to cast the widest net. In order to do that, you want as many agents through your home with their buyers. How do you get the most amount of buyers through your home? You pay commissions. You can't pay commissions. You can't market it in MLS, but you have seller concessions that will do that. Part of this, where we're talking about buyer commitment, how to ask for and earn what you deserve, it also relates to the sell side. You are going to have these same conversations with sellers. What should we do, Mr. and Mrs. Agent? We heard about this settlement. We're considering paying zero. You absolutely acknowledge, ask. By the way, in role play and in real life, acknowledge and then ask a question. Acknowledge what they said. You want to make sure they understand that they're hurt. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you certainly can do that. However, what we believe we want to do is cast the widest net possible, bring the most amount of buyers through your home, and hopefully focus on getting the highest amount possible, bidding war over asking. In our market, the homes are still selling over asking, multiple offers. Again, I'm not sure in your markets where you're at if it's like that, but you certainly can do that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. However, one thing to consider, actually, what are your thoughts? See, I ask them a question. I'm acknowledging what they said. I'm giving them a little context, but ultimately they make the decision. Okay. But you're going to have to be a strong seller agent to listing agent to then talk through these two, because this relates to sellers and it relates to buyers. Although today is focused on buyers, there's still a seller listing component of this. Going back to this, buyers are now like those sellers. We're going to have to set expectations up front. So let me just give you a context. When our sellers were interviewing for a listing, we don't have that agreement yet because we just met them that day. They start asking, well, could I, I know we're going to have to paint. Who do you use for a painter? I know we're going to have to recarpet. Who do you use for carpeting? What do you recommend we do from a staging perspective? I certainly awesome questions, because I believe that you're going to need to paint. You're going to need to do carpet, and we're going to want to make that safe. However, we have a proven process that we follow. As part of our proven process is Once we sign paperwork, see, I'm future pacing. Once we sign paperwork, then we open up our entire playbook and we open up our entire vendor list to our clients. See, we have something now. We have a playbook, we have our vendor list and all that. Am I giving them? No, I'm not giving them two of them up front. Because by the way, then I'm starting to add value on the front end. I have no relationship, and then my value starts getting diluted as they start using my vendors. Now they may thank me for it, they may appreciate, but part of my value that we've built over the years of a great vendor list, vendors that rely on us. See, vendors will put us ahead of others because we've been so good to them and vice versa. So when I can actually utilize those, once we have our listing, now I can continue to add value, add value, add value. Because by the way, everybody here has to continue to add value along the way. You set the expectations up front, you add value along the way, and then you keep adding value. You keep adding value. So as part of our process, this is what we do on listings. Everything. So why I'm not freaked out about this whole thing, there's going to be changes. But all I'm doing is I'm thinking about the sellers as now buyers and how I would treat a buyer. I've walked away from commissions numerous times. We're not the right fit because of X, Y, and Z. Now, by the way, I don't just walk away. I reiterate my value proposition, my marketing plan. And this is a whole different, probably Sarah down the road wants me to do our listing presentation and she's smiling. But that has to do with the listing where we reiterate our value proposition. We reiterate our marketing and add value, because if they're going to cut your commission, they don't see your value on the list side. They don't understand your marketing plan. They don't understand your plan. Same thing on the buyer side. So it's the same. Again, it's a mindset. It's the same. And I'm very excited because of our value proposition will be different than not my value proposition. The people on here, the people that are going to win in this market are going to have a strong value proposition. They're going to understand ultimately the buyers don't want an agent. They want a house. It doesn't dilute who we are. It just allows us to understand. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer Agent, what I want to understand from you, what are your top 3, 4, 5 expectations, whatever you feel comfortable. What are your top 2, 3, 4, 5 expectations in the agent that will be representing you in the purchase of your home? Here's the thing, it's the same pre-qualifying questions we ask on the list side. Again, Sarah will connect me and we'll do a list side one time. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what are you looking for in the agent to help you get the home sold? See, everybody may have the mindset that, oh, the only thing a seller wants is the highest price possible. If you believe that, you are missing huge opportunities, because you're selling to a seller that you will get them the highest price possible. The way you get the highest price possible is to gut renovate their home if it's not renovated. A lot of sellers don't have the appetite for that. Even great homes that are a little older, that have a little that are meticulously maintained pride of ownership, but are a little bit dated, those homes will sell, but not at the premium. The way to get an ROI is to update, to paint, to carpet, maybe update the kitchen, maybe update the bath. Here's the thing. We may have an agenda that it tells us that they want the highest price. Doesn't work that way. The reason we've been successful on the list side, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what is most important to you? Max equity or max convenience or somewhere in between? See, now I'm understanding. Max convenience is, let's get the home on the market, do nothing. Yeah, they're going to take less money. But by the way, a lot of people want max convenience, less money. There's totally different circumstances. Some people want a hybrid. Sure, we can do that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but here's what that's going to require. You know what? We want the highest price possible. We absolutely can do that. However, this is what it's going to require. The same thing. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Again, we know they want a house. How do they want to get the house? Well, We want to buy a house that is, and the reason I don't work with a lot of investors on the buy side is because I ask them and they're setting the wrong expectations as to a client that I want. We want to buy 20% off a retail. Awesome, certainly understand that. That is a great plan for an investor, makes a lot of financial sense. Here's the thing. This is what's happening in the market, and I don't believe I'm the right agent to help. I just don't think I'm the right agent to serve you because of our process, right? It's okay. But see, I have an abundance mentality that I don't have to work with a investor that has no loyalty to me. And I'm also going to turn this ringer off because if my phone is ringing and ringing. All right. So here's the thing. I have to understand, Mr. and Mrs. Buy. What are the top 5 things you're looking for in your agent? What's most important to you in the relationship and the agent you're going to be working with? Well, to find us the home, because we already know they want a house. Great. No, and that's a given, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, absolutely, is to find you that home. But in order to make sure that we're aligned, first of all, we're interviewing them, they're interviewing us. Too many people on this phone, on this Zoom, in this room, think that it's a one-way interview. I have to sell Mark Gellman to you, to why you should use me. Okay. I don't want to work with everybody. I just don't. I can't serve everybody. I have an abundant mentality. And so I have to understand where they're coming from, just like the unrealistic seller. Do I want to work with them and do they want to work with me? When we start changing our thought process that we don't have to work with everybody, it's okay. As a team leader in this organization, I don't mandate we work with every buyer or seller we interview with. By the way, the easiest place to look on a buyer as to why I don't want to use, the number one reason I don't want to work with the buyer is I go into forewarn. Forewarn, for anybody that doesn't use it, is a security app. You put in their phone number and it gives you all their violations. It gives you their criminal, all that good stuff. Here's the thing. If we put somebody in there, we're a little sketchy, we don't feel good about it, instantly, we don't work with them. Because why would I ever want anybody to risk their health, risk their safety? We don't. Here's the thing. You're interviewing them, they're interviewing us. Okay. What are your top 5 things you're looking for in an agent? And then I'm going to go through each and every one. By the way, going back to they want a house, many people, not everybody, but as part of this, we want a house. Many want a house that is off market. That's an exclusive opportunity. Don't lose track of that. Everybody on this call, if you don't have your exclusive list, some sort of list that you've created of, for example, of sellers that have raised their hand that they have some interest in selling, but they haven't sold yet, so they may be an opportunity, you have that. The other neat thing is, again, I've discussed, we have a proven process for you to sell over 4,300 homes. Actually, it's higher than that now, but I have, of those buyers, over 2,000 buyers. By the way, I have 2,000 buyers that they're still in their homes today that we've sold, that I have a relationship with, that no other agents in the St. Louis area have a relationship. I can map all those that we've sold. If you're looking at a house in a subdivision, and I know of one of our sellers or one of our buyers moved into that subdivision last year, this year, 5 years ago. Hey, Sally, it's so great to, or no, it would be an outgoing call that I'm going to show. Sally, Bill, it's Mark Gellman. Haven't talked to you in a little bit. Doesn't matter if I talked to him in a year, 2 years, 5 years. I sold it 5 years ago. It's Mark Gellman. Wanted to reach out to you. I am showing the house right up the street from you. This is a buyer that is really anxious to move into your neighborhood. Here's the thing, it may be a complete, this is a long shot. But look, would you, if it made complete financial sense, your terms, your timeline, your price, would you consider selling to this client? Can you imagine that? That if you actually were so intentional that you took all of the, if you're an individual agent, you took all your sales. If you're in a brokerage, you take all those, or if you're on a team. So these are processes that we're going to be working on, by the way. These are our own internal value propositions that we're going to be working on. We're going to map every one of our buyers. We're going to put them out there. We're going to understand what areas, and then we're going to reach out to our buyers to see if they have an interest in selling. My good friend Wes Madden, who owns Sotheby's in 30A on Dustin and that whole entire area, they had to create a market 21, 22, no houses. All they did was call all of their past clients, their forever clients, everybody that bought, and they put deals together. By the way, that was in the weakest inventory time in the hottest market in Florida, but they were getting deals done because of calling their forever clients. We're going to start doing that. Here, I'm going to give you another tip. What about we wholesale a lot to flippers? Flippers then are going to do what with the house? They're going to flip it. So what if you build relationships with all the flippers and say, hey, can you notify me when you buy a home and you're going to be putting it on the market? And if you could sell that off market, would that be a value to you? These are just notes that I took. These are notes from some of my friends that I'm hearing speaking about this. But imagine you build relationships with flippers, and again, we wholesale to flippers, but we never then follow up when we wholesale the home to the flipper. We never follow up with the flipper. Hey, when's that going on the market? Because I may have a buyer for it. See, we're creating inventory. We're creating inventory for our buyers of all of our past buyers, of all the flippers we have a relationship with. Expired, canceled. We can create our own. We just internally sold an off-market property for $1.3 million internally because we matched a buyer to an off-market opportunity internally. We have stories. Everybody here needs to understand and utilize these stories. So going back to when they're interviewing, I love off-market opportunities. I want a house, but I want to know what you can do for me. Well, one of the things we do is we do have XYZ list of all off-market opportunities. The other thing is we successfully put our buyers and sellers together. A matter of fact, last week, we just put a deal together. We satisfied one of our buyers who couldn't find what they were looking for, and one of our sellers who didn't want to officially go on the market. We have a significant list of that. With that being said, is that what you're looking for, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? Okay. And these are the type of things that we have to focus our efforts on. One other script I learned, and I think this is a great one. You meet somebody and you're talking to them about, houses available. Are you interested in seeing all homes or just the ones on Zillow?
Ooh.
Are you interested in seeing all homes or just the ones on Zillow? Most likely, just the ones on Zillow are going to be the ones that are in the MLS, and they may be accurate or not even accurate. But are you interested in seeing all the homes? It's a little opener. All right, I'm going to start with a couple questions, and then we'll get back into this. But here's the thing: understand where they're at, set the expectations that this is how we operate, and then we move forward. I'll answer questions, but I also don't want to lose track of this. Face-to-face Zoom, face-to-face buyer consultation. As I mentioned, when we list homes here, we have seller consultations. It doesn't say in the house. Many of you all have seller consultations at your office, not even at that house. Many do it remotely through Zoom. You have to get face-to-face with them. It doesn't mean that you have to be in the same room as them, but in order to make this work, to have these conversations, if you're having a good conversation, let's hop on a Zoom right now. Hopping on a Zoom, your conversions will go up exponentially. Booking a face-to-face absolutely will go up exponentially, but that Zoom. So we were on role play today. Somebody asked me on our role play, we have the Monday and Wednesday role play, 8 to 8:30 Central Standard Time. Somebody wanted to role play with, and they just wanted to see one home. That's it. And I think the a person asking it had in their mind that most people just, what are we going to do if somebody just wants to see one home? Like, how are we going to get a buyer agency signed? Right. So here was my role. So the house you're calling about or that you want to see is XYZ area. What about that area interests you? Okay, just get a little bit of curiosity. What about that area? In today's role play, because I acknowledge yes, I still remember it because I was so present in the conversation. She said, well, it had a walkout and we liked the look. Sure, I certainly understand it's a good looking home. Out of curiosity, see, I'm acknowledging yes. Out of curiosity, are you just looking for homes that have a walkout in this specific area? No, we're not. We just saw this and liked it. Sure. No, I understand. And out of curiosity, what areas are you looking at? Well, we actually don't know. Okay. Out of curiosity, where do you live right now? Well, we live here near the lake, and and we're looking to make a move. Wow, what a great area you live in. Out of curiosity, what's prompting your move? I'm just their trusted advisor. They called, wanted to just see that one home. I want to understand, and again, many of you, if you believe it is, that I can keep them on, ask questions, engage them, I can. If you want to be rushed off, Pop-Tart Realtor, go to just see the one home. You're going to just go see that one home, most likely not show value, and you're not going to procure them. So wow, that's quite the move. Are you going to be keeping the home on the lake? No, it's too expensive. Taxes are too. Oh, certainly understand. Well, I just want to see that one home. Absolutely, but here's what I want to do. I actually want to catch your vision, and we're absolutely going to go see that home. So I'm taking him off the defense. Absolutely, we're going to see that home. Here's the thing. I just want to catch your vision so that I really can understand the area that you're looking for, and I can do some of the heavy lifting for you of finding homes in other while you're enjoying the lake. Or they're like, we're really busy. We just want to see this home. While you're real busy, if it's a doctor, while you're working at the hospital, serving patients, whatever it is, while they're an executive, while you're busy at work, I'm doing the heavy lifting. I'm going to be putting together a strategy for us to get you the right home that meets your needs and your family's needs. I'm also going to be sending those over. I'm going to be doing video and right now, by the way, if you're going to sell yourself on what you're going to do, you better do everything. If you don't do it, it's disingenuous. You're selling them something that you're not going to do. And by the way, it's going to fail. You'll either get fired or have a grossly disappointed client. So what happens is in this continued conversation, here's what I'd love to do. Let's hop on a quick Zoom. And by the way, we absolutely are going to see that. I may actually be able to, in advance, we may be able to see a couple other houses and just kind of knock it out, give you an overall education on this market, because it sounds like that you're not very familiar with it. Could we hop on a Zoom right now? Just take 10 minutes or so. Hop on a Zoom. Or out of curiosity, the home on the lake, that awesome home, in order to buy, are you going to have to sell that home? Yes, we are. Here's what I'd love to do. Tradition, and we'll get you over. See, I've told them 3 times, we're going to get you to that house, no problem. But I just want to make sure that this is the good process. Here's what I'd like to do. It sounds like you're going to have to sell that home before you buy. Here's what I'd like to do. I never want my clients to throw bad money at the house. As such, what I traditionally do is I meet at their house very quickly. I buzz through it. We'll talk about the value of your home and high level overview of just my initial thoughts. And then we'll go see that home, but I'll also be able to see where you're coming from to take a look at your finishes and other. You'll tell me what you love about your current house. You'll tell me what you hate about your current house. So then I can really catch your vision, bring you to this other homes, or at least give you an idea of the homes out there. And then we'll find you that perfect home. Right? See, I'm booking a buyer consultation. I'm booking a listing opportunity. Too many people are going to simply show that home. Now, if they push back, I have to make a decision. And my decision's one of two things. Do I want to show that home? Do I potentially want to work with somebody like them who actually just wants me to see that home? Most of the time, by the way, it doesn't work out very well. It will work sometimes, but most of the time, my experience is when they won't answer my questions, and when I'm not interrogating, I want to be very clear. This is a very casual acknowledge, ask, acknowledge, ask. It's not a, are you doing this? Do you have any money? Do you have an agent? No, it's not at all. It's very soft, but I want to build a relationship. How can I add value if I simply show them a home? If I answer their call and it's the first time and I answer their call or make a call at 11 o'clock tonight, I get a lead and I make it at 11 o'clock tonight. I'm giving them permission tomorrow night to call me at 11 o'clock too. It's all about setting expectations. It's setting. And so with that being said, my ultimate goal is to get in front of people, not to be a salesperson, but to understand their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, and what they're looking to do. And I want to show them our proven process. The same thing when the script when you sell or you're going after an expired. It's Mark Gellman over at the Gellman team. The reason for my call is your home's no longer listed as active on the market. Are you still looking to get that home sold? I actually don't care if they say yes, no, or maybe. If they say yes, it's more of a gimme because we're going to get right into it. But I don't care because my ultimate next question or third question is the exact same regardless. When you do sell, or it sounds like you're not looking to sell today, if they said, no, we're absolutely not selling. When you were going to sell, where were you moving? And then I'm going to acknowledge where they were moving. Oh, awesome. What brings you to Florida? Well, we have family. Oh, that's so awesome. Do you already have a home there? No, we don't. We're just going to rent. Oh, that's such a great plan. A lot of my clients are doing the same thing. They sell here and then they rent there, or vice versa, whatever it is. Great. Ideally, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if I could show you how I'm going to get you to Florida in the next 45 days in that rental with your kids living down there, would that be a win for you? Same thing. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if I can show you how I'm going to get you to XYZ area, find you that perfect home in this area. Now, anybody on this call that's doubting what I just said, it's all up here. They don't think they can find them a home. I know I can find them a home. It's going to take some work. It may take some door knocking. It may take some call arounds. It's going to take work. But again, if I can show you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, how I'm going to satisfy your 5 expectations along with getting you to this next home within the next 45 days before your relocation package expires and now you have to pay for your apartment on your own versus the company paying, would that be a win for you? Do you think people are going to pay me if I can do that? Of course I can, because I've laid out a roadmap that I'm actually going to do that.
I have a question.
We have a question.
Can you talk about war stories and how we're doing some cool things with reviews to get ahead of
Absolutely. So Sarah asked me to articulate, and by the way, I can share some in the Agent Nation. Plus, you're going to start seeing them on the internet. One of the things we're starting to do, and I would recommend anybody out there to start doing this, we have our quote war stories. We have a challenge and how we solved it. We've always leveraged off of 5-star reviews, as you've heard, even in my pitch. We have over 1,300 5-star Google and Zillow reviews. Okay, so we know that. We've always just used the reviews. Now we're using specific challenge. Had to find a home in 30 days in a market that had less than 2 weeks of inventory. And then we use the review as the solution. Buyer fatigue. And then we use the solution of, and again, it goes into, the agent, Matt, in this case, would not let us settle. We were burnt out. But he stuck with us. He did. We have another one, challenge. Had to find an accessible. Well, I'm in a wheelchair. They had to find an accessible property. And then Danny, who again is another agent, it gave her an amazing review. But when you start humanizing this, I can relate to the person that has to be in 30 days. I can relate to the alternative type of living situation. I can relate to being so burnt out. So again, I would highly, highly recommend you'll be seeing us putting these out there because again, that what we're focused on is adding value, adding value, adding value for those that we want to work. Again, we have to make sure it's a mutually win relationship, but I am going to win. The other thing to keep in mind is when you promise that client that they're going to see all these other homes, or and again, some of you all are like, well, I don't know how to get off market. Great. If we teach you how to get off markets, how to door knock, how to do call around, easiest call around. It's Mark, and you're going to hear, when I make these calls, I don't go, it's Mark Gellman, how are you? What's going on? I don't cut all that out. It's Mark Gellman over at the Gellman team. The reason for my call is I have a client that is desperately wanting to be in your subdivision. They just lost out on the home up the street, which had multiple offers. However, what we're doing for them is we're calling all of the neighbors in the neighborhood to find out who they may know that's looking to sell a home in the neighborhood. Who do you know looking to sell? They're either going to say yes or no. If they say yes, it's a slam dunk. And I say, can I use your name? And they're either going to say yes or no. I don't care. They say yes, that's an easier entry. If they say no, great. Rest assured, it's completely confidential. I'm just going to go for it. Okay. If they say I don't know of it, here's a nugget. Here's a nugget. You already heard me say it because I already called my client in the neighborhood that I'm going to show another home to, and I use the same script. But in this, I'm just going to call some random neighborhood that my client wants to live in. So it sounds like you don't know of anybody looking to move. It's an amazing subdivision. See, I'm acknowledging it's an amazing subdivision. People really like to stay here. Here's my question. So this may be a complete long shot. Take him off the defensive. Maybe a complete long shot. But if it made complete financial sense on your terms, your timeline, your price, would you consider selling off market to one of my clients? Making calls. When you do all this activity, when you door knock, when you pick up the phone and make calls, you know what's going to happen? Activity gets more activity. You're going to find people that want to sell, but some of those are going to want to buy. Some of those sellers are going to be relocating, and I'll get a referral fee in a different city. I just will. But when you work and you do activity, it gets you more activity. And so that's our story. We're going to tell the story. We're going to add value. We're going to stand behind the value. And I'm also going to communicate that what I did to my buyer. I need my buyers to know. By the way, I just want to let you know I did door knock 112 homes for you. Here's the results I had. There may be one opportunity. By the way, I didn't find anything. We're going to go to the next. By the way, I picked up the phone. I did X, Y, and Z. I have to sell. It's part of sales. I have to let them know that I'm working hard for them. And I'll also go back to their expectations. Well, I know that one of your expectations was you want me to go above and beyond and work. Here's the thing. I'm just getting started on this, but here's what I need you to understand I did. I want to make sure. Plus, I want to do a check-in. Don't feel uncomfortable. I just want to make sure. I just want to check in. How are things going? We do, again, buyers are now like listings. We do hit reports every other week for our listings, give them updates on what's happening. Why can't we give our buyers updates on what's happening in their search? When we start treating buyers like listings, good things will happen. Anybody have any questions? If you do, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, we do have, it sounds like yes.
Would you? I understand that you should be paid, 2.5, 2.7%, whatever. But if there's a gap in that, I only want to pay 0.5%.
Sure. So somebody is talking about, the question was asked about, starting to talk about compensation and either bridging the gap or paying full commission. First off, I'm recommending everybody in this room, everybody on this Zoom, to start focused on charging the gap. If it pays out, if you want 3%, start selling 3% to everybody. And if it pays out 2.5, get the gap. Because getting the gap between 2.5% and 3% today to start winning By the way, we're all the same. Everybody wants win. Everybody wants confidence. You get confidence by getting confidence by winning. So let's start winning today. We still have a little time. We're treating this like it's happening, but we're still being paid on every listing, at least today. But I'm going to change my behavior. The reason we had this today is because we need to change our behavior. Everybody on here needs to change their behavior. Start getting buyer consult commitments up front. Start bridging gaps. By the way, and then I'll answer the question. There's another question. I'll answer I'll role play yours, but
Yes.
I want to make sure that I understand. By the way, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm so excited to this would either be in on the phone or
Right.
buyer. Imagine, and when I just did this, I just converted on Saturday where we got a buyer commit. Okay, on a remote buyer. Here's what I'm going to do. Sounds like you have temporary housing for 30 days. And then you want to be in your home. So really, we have about 30 days. By the way, I'm future pacing. We have a lot of work to do. I future pace everything. I'm playing chess while a lot of people are move to move, checkers. I'm future pacing to that we are going to work together. You're my client. So I'm always moving ahead. So here's what we're going to do. I'm really excited. So thank you for the call. I really understand a little bit more about where you're looking. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to have a detail again with you in a different state. I'm going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting in St. Louis while you're remote. We don't have to start your home search when you come to St. Louis. Part of the beauty of the internet and other is what we do with a lot of our clients. See, I always relate to a lot of my clients. A lot of my clients are doing this. A lot of my clients are out of town. A lot of my clients are executives. A lot of my clients are doctors, etc. Here's what I'm going to do. While you're busy in Michigan, I'm going to be busy working on your behalf in St. Louis. So what I'd like to do is to really catch your vision. I'd like to set up a buyer consultation over Zoom. I'm going to send you a link. See, I'm not asking him for permission. This is my process. See, you lose confidence, people lose confidence when you don't have a proven process. I have a proven process. I'm going to send you a link. See, I'm assuming that they're going to do a link. I don't ask them would it be good if we did a buyer consultation? Now they lose confidence. This is what we do. We have with all of our out of town buyers, we always do a remote buyer consultation by Zoom. I'm going to not only walk you through the market, give you an idea of overview of certain homes that are in the market available or not available. And then what we'll do is we'll review the buyer agency, buyer commitment. No big deal. We'll review it and ultimately talk through it. And future pacing that we are going to talk about the buyer consultation. At the buyer consultation, we're going to talk about the buyer commitment. Here's the thing, as I talked about in our huddle yesterday. Do you want to get a buyer commitment day one, or do you want to get it the sixth time you're out with them? Day one. It's a lot harder to do it the sixth time you're out with them because we're not cool. First 5 times, me and you didn't need this. Now we need this. It's a lot more uncomfortable. Get it early on, future pace it that we're going to sign it. Okay. So anyway, Kathy,
Yeah.
I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to meet. As I told you, we would review the buyer consultation because I want to get started on your behalf and so here it is. So Kathy, here's our buyer buyer commitment, and we call it a commitment. It's like, because you're committing to us, we're committing to uphold what we said, which is we're going to aggressively look for you, progressive, find a home, find a seller for you. With that being said, here at this number, 2.7%. What that means is that ultimately on this transaction, I'm going to be paid 2.7% regardless of what compensation is offered.
Okay, well, what is the compensation in? What is the majority? I would have wrote this.
What's
What?
it's acknowledge. It's a great question. A lot of my clients, especially out of towners, because it's all over the board, a lot of my clients ask that. An awesome question. See, I'm going at it versus running away from it. Great question. Traditionally, the 2.7 is traditionally what is what the buyer agent receives in this market. However, there are instances where it may be 2.5, 2.25. With that being said, what ultimately happens is at closing, there's no upfront fees or anything in this case, but at closing is that will show up as part of your closing costs. So what I'd love for you to do, see, that's it.
Well,
Yep.
I do know a little bit about the lawsuit and everything, and I just want to be clear, I don't want to have to pay more than 0.5%.
Sure, and I certainly understand. And by the way, at this point, it may not be that you're going to have to worry about paying that 0.5%. However, what I can tell you is that at this point, I don't really see things changing. However, what I can also tell you, though, is at that point, we can reevaluate because I don't work for 0.5%. So just because of what we've, and by the way, our average commission traditionally is 2.7%. Our service is actually, here's the thing I can assure you, Kathy, is our services are actually going to be improved. The industry, we hope, service is going to improve. So what I can tell you is that, and remember, we're not, so we always use this on a listing. Somebody says they'll charge 4.5, say, and we like to say when we charge commission, we pay 3.5, and you can decide what you want to pay. We never talk about the totality of 6. But imagine that the number becomes 6 and somebody says they'll do it for 4. Okay. They are not a discount. If you start talking that they're discounting, don't use the word discount. They're a limited service. We're a full service. See, at 0.5%, you're getting limited service. At 2.7, you're getting full service. If you're going to pay 4% for a listing agent, that's a limited service. 6% full service, or 7% or 10, whatever you charge. You have to remember that, because discount, if clothes are on sale, they're discounted, but it's the exact same clothes. If you're discounting your commission from 6 and competing with somebody that's discounted to 4, it's telling you they have the exact same service, just cheaper. I never use discount. Limited service. Well, what does that mean? Oh, they just limit the things that they do. Here's what we do. I'm not sure where they're limiting, but what I can tell you is they're not doing everything here. So Kathy, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. So we can do one of two things. We can cross that bridge. But at this point, to get started, we're at 2.7%, the 99 point something percent today. Now, it may change, it may not change, but here's the thing. I will promise you, Kathy, 2 things. Number one, if you're not happy with my services, you can fire me. We have an instant out. Okay. We've always done that on the list side. We're doing the same on the buy. However, if we find a home and we're negotiating, you can't fire me. But here's the thing. I can assure you, number one, we have an easy out if either of us, see, I don't want you to think you're in control. If either of us don't feel like this is the right working relationship, we can part ways. Nobody's going to be upset. The other thing that I can assure you, Kathy, you're actually going to be surprised because you're going to think you're underpaying me because of the service I'm going to be providing you. But by the way, guys, I really believe I should be charging her 2.7. Her bring up 0.5%, that upsets me. And I don't like that. So I may not even want to work with her because she already has it. But I at least want to let her know I can fire her too. 2-way. Okay, hopefully that's helped. We got a bunch of questions. Let's see. How often do you recommend calling your hot buyers, warm buyers, cold buyers? Here's the interesting thing. This is a great question, my man, Adam Merrick. How often do you recommend? I recommend calling people when I can add value. If I have a hot buyer and I can't add value, what am I going to say? The worst call you can make is, hey, Adam, Mark Gellman over at the Gellman team, you ready to buy? That's the worst question. And we ask that all the time. You ready to buy? No, I'm not. Okay, is it okay? Will you give me permission to call you in a month? Yeah, what's going to change in a month? Ridiculous. I got to ask questions. I got to add value. Hey, Adam, I just wanted to check in. Imagine he's a hot A buyer. Okay, he is ready to go. An A buyer, by the way, technically, somebody that you have a buyer commitment to, somebody that's ready to go if you found them the right home, and somebody that's committed. Obviously, you have a buyer commitment, but somebody that's all in, right? Number one, Adam, I just wanted to follow up with you and let you know. Since we saw the house at 123 Main Street, that did, by the way, sell. It actually closed. And I just want to give you a heads up. I know that we wrote it 400. See, I'm putting it in my Maris MLS shopping cart. Every home we saw, that you maybe liked, every home that we wrote on. I want to track those because, by the way, some of them go back on the market and we miss it. However, I'm going to add that, hey, I just wanted to let you know this. I want to make sure that you understand so far this week for you, I've done X, Y, and Z. Don't have any results yet, but I'm really excited. Let's do this. Let's connect next week at 3 p.m. unless in the meantime, the right house I find or it comes on the market. Every appointment, every conversation, I need you to understand. Every appointment, every conversation should end with another appointment. When you show a house, that appointment needs to end with another appointment. It just does. And you're like, well, what will the appointment be? I'm going to call you to follow up on X, Y, or Z. Okay. So how often are you calling your hot buyers, warm buyers, cold buyers? First of all, cold buyers, I need to turn a cold buyer into a warm or hot buyer, or I get rid of them. I have an abundance mentality, not a scarcity. Cold buyer is somebody, and I'm assuming from a high level, it's a to be determined, don't know what it is, or they've ghosted me. And literally, I've called them again, 10 days of pain, 10 emails, texts, calls. By the way, I triple call. If they don't answer, I call and they don't answer, hang up. Call. If they don't answer, hang up. And they call, and I call a third time. 90% of those people will answer the third. I promise you. If I didn't have my ringer off and I was looking at my phone and somebody called me 3 times, now I may be a little pissed, but I would answer. What do you need? I'm going to answer. So here's the thing: cold buyers, I need to turn into a hot buyer because ultimately my focus is to work on hot buyers. We are probably going to have more work to do today than traditionally in the new world, because we're going to add more value. We're going to potentially, we should be making more money because we're actually going to charge people more. So I believe the best of the best agents will actually make more. The messy middle will actually make way less. And then the lowest ones will probably still stick around because they only sell a couple homes. It's going to be the top producers that are just going to kill it. So how often do I call? Number one, if I have value to add, I will call them. If I have an update, I will call them. For a warm buyer would tell me maybe they're not buying for 30 to 60 days, but they're buying in this little neighborhood. Hey, Sarah, Adam, I just wanted to check in, let you know that the house over at 123 Main Street is on the market. Now I know it's early, you're a little bit, but let's just track it. I just want to make sure that I keep you up to date on what's happening. Okay. So number one, I'm working with hot buyers. When I can add value, you should be adding value consistently because you should be finding homes and opportunities. How many conversations are your top agents? How many conversations should they be having? My opinion is, and we've studied this with our coach, and that there's been a strategy that the conversations over 2 minutes are the most successful, because there's a difference between a conversation. Hey, Adam, it's Mark. Are you ready to buy? No, that's not a conversation. Hey, Adam, it's Mark Gellman over the Gellman team. Just wanted to check in with you. I wanted to give you a couple updates. I door knocked everybody in the subdivision. We may have a couple. It's still a little bit away. Also, I did go back to 2018 and looked at a couple expireds that I'm working on getting. So number one, I'm updating you. I'm giving you value. And just out of curiosity, Adam, I've had a couple thoughts because I know we've been working together for like 3 months and we really haven't found anything. Here's what I'm doing with a lot of my other clients is we're looking outside and just thinking a little bit outside the box. I know a 4-bed is just critical. However, I'm seeing a lot of 3 beds come up that potentially a 4th in the lower level. I'm seeing that I know you want to attach garage, but here's the thing. If you found everything that checked your list and we could add on in the indentures, if there are indentures in that subdivision, allow us to add a garage, would you at all consider that, even though it'd be a detached? When I can start having these kind of conversations and thinking outside the box. So I believe that 2-minute conversations are the most important. By the way, if you don't have a conversation, it's going to be hard to book an appointment. And our KPI, which you say, what did you think the most? I believe that the KPI that's most important is appointments. And I'm suggesting either a appointment For a Zoom, I'm suggesting a face-to-face appointment, but it is impossible for you to sell a home without a appointment. The same way, it is impossible for you to list a home and sell a home without an appointment. I already said. So in my opinion, the most important KPIs are how many appointments set from those for how many conversations we have. Then we'll determine how many conversations it takes to set an appointment. And ultimately, appointments will matter. The KPI I'm most focused on the list side, how many pre-list opportunities do we go on? How many interviews do we go on? By the way, how many interviews we go on, and then all I have to do is if my conversions increase 10% and our team's gone on 148 this year, and I improve at 10% conversion, I get 14 more sales. Improve at 5%, I get 7 more sales. KPIs, for example, in open houses. How many open houses are we holding? Our best of the best agents are converting somewhere in the neighborhood of 5.5 to 6 open houses for a sale. You hold one a week, it's 50. They're going to sell somewhere 10 to 12. However, if you can improve your conversions to 1 every 4, you hold open the same 52 weeks, all of a sudden you're going to sell an additional 2 or 3. So those are what I'm focused on. I'm happy to go deeper into those, but those are some. Thank you, super. Perfect. Anybody else have anything else? Again, I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm available online, offline. The one thing I didn't get to, but it's just too detailed right now, is we do have a very, very, very thick buyer book. It's done in high note and flipping book in high note. I can give you a quick buzz through just to give you an idea. I'm happy to again, some of this is braggadocious, some's meet our team, but here, I want to get into the home buying process. Buyer consultation, decide on working relationship, buyer agency. We're already talking about decide, are we going to work together? And we have a buyer agency right here. By the way, I also don't want to lose track. We sell new construction, we sell existing, we sell homes. We need to make sure the market and your clients understand that we represent new construction, we represent existing homes, resale. Please let them know you're working with me directly. By the way, it's going to be a lot less of a chaotic Wild West because we're going to have relationships. So people are actually going to know that they're working with me. They're going to go into an open house and say, we're already working with Mark Gellman. Let's take a look. Most important thing a new agent can do to be successful. So, by the way, new agent, existing agent. There's 4 things that impact the success of an agent. Okay. Doesn't matter, new, existing, although new have worse, don't have as bad a habits, but there's 4 things. Number 1, mindset. We have to have a positive mindset. We have to go into the conversation. We are going to win. We are going to convert. So you have to have a right mindset. I don't wake up every day feeling great. By the way, today was a little bit of a shit show this morning, but I got up and got ready for this because I have a responsibility to everybody in the room and you. So my mindset's such that I'm got ready for this. Number 1. Number 2, you have to improve your skills. How do you improve your skills? If you're an agent, understand the contract. So it gives you confidence because most new people don't understand the contract very well. So then they get nervous. And when they're nervous, then it portrays to the client. And then the client's like, have you ever sold a home before? The worst question you could ask is, how many homes have you sold? I've never been asked how many homes I sold because I exude confidence that I know what the heck I'm talking about. So we have to improve our skills. How do we do that? We understand the contract. We understand scripts and dialogues. We just do. We know what to say and how to say it. But by the way, I don't know every objection people are going to come up with, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to acknowledge their objection and I'm going to ask a question. It's just a game. Okay. So we have to have the right mindset. We have to have the right skills. We have to improve our skills, scripts, dialogues. We have to, again, study the contract. Okay. We have to time block. We have to have a calendar. By the way, I violated my time block because this was till 11 o'clock, 10 to 11 Central Standard Time. So anybody drops off, cool with that, because you have a time block. But I was non-negotiably not gonna miss this. I knew that at 10 o'clock, regardless of how much I have going on, at 10 o'clock, I needed to be here. Third time block. And then there's one thing. Just do it. Actually do it. Stick to your schedule and take action. Take massive action. Going back to the 4 things. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right skills. You have to have it scheduled, and you have to take massive action. That is how a new agent, an existing agent, anybody is successful. Anybody else before we wrap this up?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do stop recording real quick for you.